Hey everyone, this is Strider. Today I'm going to show you how to make a pretty simple logo using GIMP. GIMP is a free software. It's a pretty nice Photoshop alternative. So to get started, you're going to want to go to File and click New to create a new image. I want this one to be square, so I'm going to change the height to the same as the width. Check out the other options. Everything there is fine. We want transparency so that it's just the logo that shows up. And 72 pixels per inch is what we're gonna go with. A lot of times it'll default to 300 pixels per inch. By the end of the design, that's a pretty big file size sometimes though, so trying to avoid that. So click OK. We've got our square to start off with. I'm going to create a couple of guides to help out through the design. So you can do one vertical and one horizontal. Usually it starts me on horizontal, so if you need to do that one first, that's fine too. Then direction horizontal, position 50%. So same thing, one horizontal, one vertical. So next you're going to make sure that it's going to snap to those guides. So there's that, and that's checked. I also like snap to canvas edges. If you have your grid on, you can also do snap to grid. Sometimes that helps. Sometimes it kind of interferes though. So, but then once you've got your guide set up, I'm gonna do the ellipse select tool. And if you start this off in the center, and then you hold down Control on your keyboard, that'll allow you to grow it from the center instead of or throughout the whole image. I don't know. You see what it's doing though, so hopefully you can make sense of that. So now it'll snap to this corner for me, and you've got a circle selected that's equidistant from the center there. So now that that's selected, I'm going to fill it in with the color that I'm using. And I'm going to do this nice blue color. You can do whatever color you want. And actually, I'm going to do a gradient for mine. So there's this blend tool. Fill a selected area with the color gradient. So click that. And then I'm going to click on the center and drag out to the edge. And it's kind of doing its own thing for color right now, but I'm going to change that so that it's using my foreground and background colors. See, it's on custom, but if I can change it to foreground to background HSV. I need to change my background color though. So I did this shade of blue. And I'm gonna switch these back. I don't know if for some reason it doesn't like the way the dark is on top of the light, so it adds these other colors. But there's kind of what I was going for. Feel free to mess with the other options here. I've got some pretty cool, especially when it's going from the center out. I think it looks cool. Sometimes the gradient looks a little cheesy, but I don't know. To each their own too, I guess. So that's done. Oh, and then you have to hit enter to apply that gradient. So I did that. I'm gonna create a new image again, fill with transparency. Here we go. So now what we want to do is find a couple of images for the logo. So I'm going to switch to the browser and go find those. You can grab, there's a VectEasy. Has vector graphics that work out pretty well for this as well. I'm going to stick to that because that's what I've been doing lately. For these, you do have to add attribution, so you have to give the author credit. So copy that and throw it in a notepad document too, or Word, or whatever your preference is. I'm gonna save that to my desktop just for practice. I'm not actually gonna use this one. I'm just, like I said, doing this for practice. So sword logo. So there's that. Free license. And it's downloading. We'll find one more thing. I'm gonna grab an S logo. So whatever you're feeling. This sword logo into here. So sometimes it'll give you this kind of description, just saying that it uses a different color profile, so you have to convert it. That's fine. And it's pretty big. There's a resize tool here somewhere, scale tool, and you can click and drag down. If you hold control while you do that, it keeps your image centered where it previously was. Otherwise, I'll show you what happens when it kind of scales it down and right. So I like where it keeps it center. Sorry. Actually, I mean our rotate tool. So we'll rotate that to whatever you want. Kind of want it to where it's like stabbed into the ground. You could also do it to where it's face up. I think that's about good. Alright, so once you've got a sword for your logo or a stock image, whatever you want to do, you're going to want to start selecting it so you don't have all the extra white space on the sides. So I use this magic select tool, fuzzy select tool. It's the wand looking one. And then start clicking, and then for all the additional selections you can hold shift and click some more. You can use control and your mouse wheel up to zoom in, and then hold shift, click, click, click. So now that that's done, you can hit Control and C on your keyboard. That'll be your copy, and then Control V to paste it on your background. And so it'll add it as a floating selection, and I like to add that to a new layer with this button here. The other one, this anchor tool, would just drop it onto the background, and we don't really want that. So now that's done, you can click your move tool or your resize tool. I would like it a little bit bigger, so I'm gonna resize it and hold control while I do so it stays centered. There. And then hit enter to finish the resizing. And you're done with this sword graphic, so you can close that. Save the changes if you want to. I'm not going to for this example just because it is just an example. We still have the S to work with, so new image, transparent, grab our S right here. Click and drag that in. Convert that color profile again. Resize it again. I'm holding Control so it stays centered. And this will be a lot easier to select too. So get your magic select tool, your fuzzy select tool. Click one, hold shift, click the other. Okay, couple selections. Still way better than the sword though. So we've got that. And what you can do instead of adding it right to your background too is copy that, create another new image, make sure it's transparent, and paste it over here. So now we can really just get rid of this for now. And I'd like to rotate that a little. Grab our rotate tool. I think that's good. Because since this is kind of a gradient, it's not going to fill that with color real well. But if I grab the selection ahead of time, now I've got the white with the fill bucket, and I hold shift, you can see this changing right here to fill whole selection. And click, and now it's all white. So we can copy that right now, I think. So Control C, image, Control V. Let's see what happens when we create a new layer for that. See that that's fine. Now resize that because it's a little small compared to the sword. Maybe give it some of that angle back. And you could put the sword back on top too if you wanted to. But then I'm gonna call it good with that. So once you've got your logo how you want it to be, you can save it. But then you also need to export it if you want to use it as a PNG. PNG is going to allow you to keep the transparency on the edges here so that it will indeed be a circle like this. For like YouTube, it'll be a circle anyways. So, but either way, you're going to want to export it. So go ahead and export as, give it a name. We'll say new logo. I'm just going to drop it on my desktop too. Then go ahead and click the export button, and here is where it'll allow you to choose the extra settings. So I usually drop out creation time, comment, and then click this advanced to drop down here and lose these first three settings down here. That's gonna lower the file size a little bit more so that you can use it with most sites, because I've tried the compression level with 9 and left these and it was still a little bit too big. So by default I just stick to these settings here. So then click your export and wait for that to finalize for you. And then it'll be good to use on YouTube or whatever social media profiles. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.